And this is Rosina Filippelli, wife of Peter. And we're in Rosina's house. And you can see one of her paintings in the background. You've been painting for a long time, Rosina?
Yes, most of my life actually.
Yeah.
I stopped after I was opening Subud for about 20 years. And then I started again about 10 years ago.
Huh.
Well, that would make it 30 years. A little less than 10 years.
How do you feel when you're painting?
It's different now than it was. Before Subud, I painted out of anger, frustration. Now I paint out of joy, actually.
Huh.
And it's a sort of a celebration. In fact, I can't paint anymore if I'm disturbed. It's the reverse.
Yeah.
It was. You're getting too close to me.
I have to get a little closer to pick up your voice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How long have you been in Subud?
Since 1960.
So you were open a little bit after Peter?
Yeah, Peter was in a year before. Didn't I ever tell you that story?
Yeah.
I had kept going to these art galleries, art supply stores, and this woman who worked there was always at a new store. Wherever I went to a new store, she was working at that new store. And then one day, out of the blue, I walked in and I said, there's got to be more to life than this. And she said, oh, you sound like you're ready for Subud. So I said, what's Subud? You know, she told me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I have a date, I can't go. The week before, I had a third floor apartment in Russian Hill. And one morning I was painting like mad, and there was a knock on the door, and there was this beautiful couple, gorgeous couple standing there. And they said, is there an apartment for rent in this building? And I thought, why have they come all the way up to the third floor back apartment to ask when there were all kinds of people on the other two floors? So I said, no, I'm sorry, there isn't. And I fell madly in love with them. I just fell madly in love with them. And they left. And she said, it was Rohana and Harun Taramina. And they said, that's the perfect girl for Joe Filippelli. And they told him. And he said, fine, what am I supposed to do about that? You know? Well, back to the woman who was telling me about Subud. That was Harun's ex-wife, Alice Carroll, that I kept meeting every year. And so all of a sudden that Friday, I broke my date, borrowed my date's car, and went to Subud, scared to death. There it was in the Tenderloin. And I walked in the hall, and I was, on my most cold behavior. And in walked Peter, and I fell madly in love with him. 4 days later, we were engaged to be married. And then Peter introduced me to Harun and Rohana as his fiancée, and they almost died. They said, that's the same girl. It's a small world.
Yeah, what a story.
Yeah, it was. It was neat. I felt like I was gotten. I didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And so we've been married. I don't know how many years have we been married. 27 years. And I've been in Subud 27 years.
Yeah. What was it like in the early days of Subud?
Oh, joyful. Absolutely joyful. We had insane people. They were characters. They were wonderful. They were all innocents, if you know what I mean. It was a Damon Runyon situation. Everyone was very much who they were. And of course you had madnesses that you can't believe. And but the Latihans were extraordinarily strong, lively, and you knew when you did latihan. You came out of there. Oh my! It was. There was more magic. Now it's deeper, but it's more serious business, if you will.
Yeah.
It's we're no longer children, and we were children then.
Yeah.
So our gifts are bigger, but they're quieter. It's like Christmas. You know? When we were little, we used to have these fun toys, you know, and we were, the more adult we became, the more serious the gifts were. And we accepted them more seriously and more gratefully.
Over the years, you've probably seen Bapak quite a few times.
Yeah.
Do you recall any specific stories or any incidents around Bapak that you want to share?
When Bapak died, we were initially sad. And I was remembering in Chalandak in '67 that Bapak had demonstrated the gift of laughter. That it's the most unique gift that God has given man, and that it can break up and dispel the most sinister situations if it comes from here, the laughter. And so we started telling stories sort of spontaneously about what Bapak had done and how silly we were in front of Bapak and how he must have laughed at us constantly as children, you know, as being peculiar children. And I remember in the Washington Street house, I think it was in '63, I remember Bapak, we had bought Bapak a suit. I don't know if this is going to be of interest to you, I really don't. And Bapak was very eager to have the suit because he wanted to wear it to the talk that night. And he kept asking me, and I didn't know Bapak all that well, and he kept asking me if the suit had come. And I said, no, Bapak, it hadn't. And by this time, it was later on in the day, and Ruth Atkins in those days had promised me this suit, that it was altered and it was to be delivered, and I was getting frantic. And I was downstairs pacing. Well, the suit arrived finally around 5:30, and I ran upstairs and I said, Bapak, your suit is here. Now go try it on to make sure it fits. And he said, yes! He turned around and went in and tried it on. And, oh my God, I just told Bapak to do something, and he was so obedient, you know. And so then they sent down word, Rosina, the suit fits. I could have killed myself. You know. Oh, that was, and then the time in the main house on Broadway, and the lights, you know, remember all those houses, the lights were always going out because we had so many heaters going. Oh, there was another one about testing. Well, that was funny, but Bapak had, the lights had gone out, and I was standing in the kitchen, and I had grabbed a candle because I know that Bapak didn't like the dark. I had grabbed the candle and lit it, and I was running up the stairs trying to hold this candle without, you know, having it go out, and running, and my shoes were falling off as they were going down the stairs, and I ran up the stairs, and just as I got to Bapak's door, Bapak opened the door, and he took the candle, and I said, Terima kasih. I said, oh, what do you say? I can't remember, but it was in Indonesian for you're welcome. And then he shut the door, and I thought, I wonder if he thought I was standing out there all this time with that candle, just waiting for him to open the bloody door. You know? I had this vision, you know, of Papa saying, oh, Rosina's outside now. I'll go get my candle. Thank you very much. You know, the timing was exquisite.
What were you going to say about testing?
Oh, it was in the Washington Street house, and we had been doing intense testing. It was incredible, some of the things that and testing was new. And the receiving was extraordinary. And I had just had about an hour's worth of testing down at the hall. And we'd come back to the house, and Papa was fond of these private little talks way in the middle of the night, and he would tell us the most incredible stories. Wonderful stories, my God. And so anyway, I was still shaking from all this testing that was brand new. And I had walked into his room to give him some coffee, and the television was on, and these people were doing a twist on television. And Bapak turned, he saw me come in, and he said, like testing. But I didn't hear that. I just heard test, and I said, now, Bapak, with the coffee. He said, no, television. But it was now more. Anytime we could. Oh, the man must have thought we were mad. But he laughed. Oh, he laughed.
What was it like for you when Bapak stayed at your house on Grove Street?
Oh, yes. Well, I knew he was coming, and he asked me that in the car. And I was always too shy to tell Bapak I received anything, that was presumptuous, And he'd asked me, he says, before he arrived, I smelled the critex, which is sort of the preamble to Bapak's tapping in on me. I'd always get a whiff of critex. And I thought, Bapak's coming here. You remember we prepared 2 places. I thought, oh my goodness, Bapak's coming here. And I had been cleaning the house, but as you know, it was an enormous house. And so I tried to make it as nice as possible. And I thought, oh boy, Bapak's coming. So I thought, you're silly. And sure enough, as you know, Bapak came. And Bapak could go up the stairs, but Ibu couldn't, so Ibu was in the little room downstairs. And I felt badly about that. And Bapak was upstairs in my bedroom, and I thought, it was a gift. It was a present to San Francisco, yes. Oh, because the house was almost San Francisco, the San Francisco group. And it was a gift to San Francisco, and it was a special gift to us. It was a pat on the head that meant a great deal.
Yeah.
And I remember Peter and I had sleeping bags on the floor of the living room, and we thought, he's upstairs. The man is upstairs. And that's all I could think of, is the man is upstairs. And after he left, worrying about my hot water heater, will I have enough water, will the electricity blow, all this business, And that night we slept in our bed. The Bapak had slept in before. And I thought, Bapak had slept here. Bapak slept in this bed. And all of a sudden, very clearly in my head, Ibu said, Rosina, not to think so much. And I said, okay, good night. And I went to sleep, and that was the end of it. Someone was always zapping me about that.
Yeah. Any other things you can think of?
Can you turn that thing off for a moment? Think about it. I don't know.
Let me ask you something else. What do you feel about the future of Subud right now?
The latihan will go on. The latihan will go on. Bapak had said that Subud was not so much for us, but for our children's children. I believe that, although we've certainly been blessed with it. And I don't mind being on this level if my children's children can be on this level. Subud organization, I feel, must be treasured. It must be based on the latihan. And spiritual pride and presumption to be avoided at all costs.
Yeah.
And I think if we keep it simple, the Subud Brotherhood itself will grow. And our inners will guide us.